welcome all our viewers on Matabeleland Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Tulani Nkala. Today we've got Dr. Samukele Hadebe on the program, The Big Conversations. We hope we are going to have a fruitful conversation with him. Dr. Hadebe, we welcome you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Nkala. Thank you, listeners, for this opportunity to share with you whatever lately I have. Thank you.
Okay, no, thanks very much. Let's go straight into the interview. We have seen many documents or newsletters talking about Phutheho Convention. I was wondering whether you could just explain to us. I'm not even sure whether I'm pronouncing the word Phutheho properly. And I don't even know what language is that.
Well, I might not be pronouncing it properly too, but we all learn. Yeah. Phutheho is a word in one of our many languages in the region, which is Putah. It means, yes. Yeah. It means a meeting.
Okay. It means
yes, you can take it into Kalanga, you can take it into Ndebele, you can take it into Venda, you can take it into Nambia. Yeah. But we decided this will use one of them, and Phutheho is the one that came in to mean a meeting, a gathering, and that's what a convention is.
Okay. Oh no, that's excellent. That's excellent. Maybe if you could just give us a background. What brought about this idea of convening this kind of meeting?
Well, let me say there have been a lot of changes from the original gathering, you know, as new information comes, new people come into the play. But initially, the idea was triggered by the performance at grade 7 level examinations, O level and A level. That was the initial call for the meeting to say, as parents, as communities, why are we so indifferent? Why are we not outraged when we are told in a district, in 2 or 3 districts, much north or much south, you get 40 schools with 0 at grade 7 results. So if we have 0 performance, you are not talking about schools that had 1%, you are not talking about schools that had 3%. So it shows that generally, as a region, we are totally nowhere when it comes to education performance. So it was all about our own children to say, surely as parents, as communities, how can we just do nothing year in, year out? We hear about these results. These are our children. These are our own communities. And we do nothing about it as the parents, as the guardians, as the citizens of the region. So when the debate began to say, surely we can't ignore this reality because this is the future. This is our own children. That's when other issues came in to say, no, it's not only that. Look at even our numbers in universities, in colleges. Look at us even in employment. Look at us even in business. Then we had to gather evidence. And the evidence is not that we did our own research, but we collected evidence from Zimstat, from UNICEF records, from the World Health Organization, all those stats about Zimbabwe. And it shows that as the Matabeleland region, we are underperforming or doing badly, even in terms of ill health, even in terms of malnutrition, in terms of children with underweight, in terms of breastfeeding mothers not taken care, in terms of cervical cancer, in terms of breast cancer, in terms of unemployment, in terms of, you know, housing, in terms of food security. So as a region, we are a dying region. So the idea of saying, let's do something. But we realized, well, these were stakeholders. civic society, individuals, churches, a group, academics, all sorts of people. That was the idea. Then people said, but we've been doing something. Everyone has been doing something. As individuals, as organizations, they've been doing something. But whatever we've been doing in our individual capacities was not good enough because the situation is deteriorating, it's not getting better. Hence the idea of saying, maybe let's come together and pave a pathway out of this poverty, out of this suffering, and arrest this decline. Hence the idea of a meeting, which we call Phutheho, which you can call a convention, which you can call Imbizo, whichever language you want to use. But the idea is, let us go and meet and address these situations, this problem, these challenges, which actually in a nutshell is serious poverty, underperformance. We are nowhere, we are not counted. You can think of any sector, you will see we're underperforming. So that's the essence, that is the background to Phutheho.
All right. Maybe in your research, have you found out as to why we are underperforming in all spheres of life?
Yes, research has been done in various areas. Let me perhaps start with education, which was the really motivation. First, you might realize the infrastructure in our schools. Go to schools in Matabeleland, go to Lupan and ask how many schools have laboratories. So what you say about science performance when there are no labs? How many schools have libraries? Right? How many schools can actually do cookery, can do fashion and fabrics? So you start with the infrastructure. But you also look at how many schools have appropriate teachers for the relevant subjects. But consider the distance which learners have to travel. I can tell you for a fact there are students who travel more than 10 kilometers. I have cases I can tell you about. To and from. So you can imagine those challenges, but also the poverty of parents, the inability to buy the necessary materials and all those. So there are many factors just when you look at the situation of the schools, the education performance. But there are many factors within the education sector that we can look at. But these are some of the highlights that have been identified, which are there on record, which people have done research. But you can move on to say, what then happens to the dropouts? What we do, what systems are there? What policies are there to say, fine, you get in a year 18% past the O level. What about the rest? Who did not? What do we do as a nation? So you can see that we're abandoning the majority of the people. We are consigning them into poverty, into non-entity, into nothingness. And that is the majority of the citizens. So this poverty that we are in, this inability to sustain our own lives, we can see is a chain, is a cycle. So saying you can go to any area and say food sufficiency. If you have no means to produce the food, so it means year in, year out, you'll be relying on the natural rains and the little inputs that you can get. So you can see these are people who are already unable to sustain livelihood. So if you find out household by household, how many families are able to have 3 meals a day in Matabeleland, both urban and rural, the situation is pathetic. And ask yourself, how many in a household have a formal income? Not a good salary, but a formal income that they know that every month they will get something. The situation is pathetic. So you can go sector by sector. Look at the issue of water. See, you are talking of water in Rwanda, you are talking of water in Kai, you are talking of water, and look at the importance of water in life, in productivity, in industry, in commerce, and you are saying a region that is dry, that has no source of water, what can it do? So those are challenges that affect business, that affect lots of things. So we can go sector by sector and we realize there are many challenges, some historical, some policy-wise, and some perhaps that we have not been standing up for ourselves. So we are saying problems are compounded by us being indifferent.
Yeah.
It's as if we are not bona fide citizens. It's as if we leave it to someone. You find, on community, in a public sector, you are not there in the health, you are not there in the police, you are not there in prisons, you are not there in the army, you are not there in education, and you don't see that as an anomaly. Nowhere in the world would you find such a situation and people do nothing about it. And you are saying, no, we should do something.
Yeah.
We should do something, or else we are sending the wrong message to our own children. You get the point. So let's do something.
Yeah. I know many efforts have been done before to unite individuals and organizations from the region. You, as Phutheho, or people behind Phutheho, what is it that you think you have that other people have failed to unite the region?
First of all, those people you mentioned that have failed to unite the region are part of us. We are those people that have failed. But we are the people who are saying we can't give up on ourselves. We have to reflect and say, why did we fail before? Why did we think we can do it as individuals? Why did we think we can do it as families or as friends, as small parties, as this and that? So it's all of us. And we are starting from that realization that unless we come together, coming together does not mean you are a club, you abandon your club. If you are a burial society, you abandon your burial society. If you are a resident association, no, we are saying, come with your jackets, whoever you are, but now we are coming for an agenda. We are not coming to change your identity. We are coming to say there is this problem which is actually threatening your own existence wherever you are. So it's about our survival. So we are not coming here because someone is convincing us. The reality that we are all thinking and we are seeing it, that is the reality that comes in, because you are not coming to Phutheho with a preconceived outcome. No one can say Phutheho will solve the problem, but we are saying we believe once we come together in a systematic, transparent, and orderly way, we can find a pathway out of where we are. We can't solve all the problems, but let's start with something, especially those things that touch future generations. We have allowed the future generations to be decimated, their opportunities to be totally destroyed. If we fail as a generation, let's not allow the next generations to fail. So it is a duty to our own children. And surely, because it is touching our own children, no guardian, no parent would be as irresponsible to keep on squabbling on non-issues and then not come to address that your child is sleeping without food, your child is not learning, your child is bound to fail, your child gets unemployed, and you continue in poverty. Those are things that we cannot be divided on. We can be divided when it comes to certain issues, but these are things of our survival. We owe this to no one but to ourselves. So we are not saying because we have called for a meeting, then we have a magic wand that will solve the problem of disunity. But we are saying part of the disunity is part of our problems. Poor people rarely unite. Part of our disunity shows lack of leadership, of responsibility. Leadership, even at family level, as mothers, we must be leaders, as brothers, we must be leaders, as fathers, we must be as grandfathers. So we are already failing at many levels. And we should have the patience and the tolerance of understanding and reaching out. You get the point. When you call for a meeting, people say, what is it that we are going to discuss in a meeting? Then we are saying, if I want to tell you what we'll discuss in a meeting, so what is the point of a meeting? The idea is that there is a call for a meeting. And the call is not an invitation, it is an announcement, because we don't invite you in your own business. This is your own business. If you come from Matabeleland, this is your own business. You stand summoned to a meeting. It's like a gathering under the tree in a village. No one remains behind and say, why am I going there? You go there, and if you want to argue, you get there and say, let's destroy this meeting when you are there. You don't sit home, because if you sit home, those who go to the meeting will decide for you. So this is the reality of Putah.
Yeah, you have painted such a dire situation. We know that people or organizations or people within organizations with certain positions, even if the situation is explained to them, as you do now, leaving those positions, it becomes a very difficult thing sometimes. As I said, that many efforts have been done. So now I'm really trying to find out what is it, because this situation has been going on for a long time now. So what is it now that you think might encourage them, might persuade them to come and join hands with everyone else?
We have used a two-pronged approach. Stakeholders in terms of organizations,
yes,
which all stand invited and are behind realizing the dream of a Phutheho, and going direct to the communities.
Okay.
Because we've always tried certain things, but one thing that has always been very difficult, because it is time consuming, one, because it is expensive.
Yeah.
None of us has the time to reach out to the communities.
Yeah.
But he realized that there is no shortcut. If you deal only with representatives, with organizations, and without going to the communities directly, sometimes you realize that you don't get to achieve what you set out to. Because whatever all these organizations are doing, they do it in the name of the people, but the people never get to know.
Yeah.
So we are saying, while we meet as organizations, still let's go to the people, because the idea of a meeting is that ordinary men, women, girls, boys come and determine the way forward. So reaching out to the communities, which unfortunately this COVID pandemic has really had an effect in hindering, because you couldn't meet many people. But the small numbers that are permissible, the organizers on the ground are doing their best to meet people in their communities, be it in a church, be it in a club, be it in a beer hall, wherever, as long as people maintain the regulations they abide to protect themselves, and the numbers that are permissible, the meetings are going on with communities. So we are saying, whatever the situation, at least people, communities will go for the meeting. Yeah. So if Hadebe decides that he doesn't want to go to the meeting because perhaps he believes he is very important to meet ordinary people, but the ordinary people are going to go and decide, because they are Matabeleland, with or without those who might opt not to. But we are saying, because the stakeholders are being reached out, you can't reach all of them because it takes time to reach all. Yeah. But everyone is part of it. There is nothing that is concluded before the other person comes in. Yeah. Which is why we created a system, a process, and they put stages to say, our first stage is this. From this stage, you are moving to that, so that at whatever point you join, because we can't all have been there in the beginning, but whoever joins midway, they must still come back and be able to trace, why did you decide on this? Why did you decide on this? And the process, and is able to input at any given time. Yeah. And I can tell you, people are organizing without the organizers getting there. People organizing their communities and set up, because people already are organizing their structures, either as residents, as churches, and the like. And the idea of feeding information through a platform like the Phutheho News, is so that wherever people are,
Mm-hmm.
they can follow the different debates and the guidelines that we should all be able to follow. Because even when we come and gather under Phutheho, we can't have the whole of Matabeleland, Midlands, Mad South, Bulawayo, and people in the diaspora gathering. It will only be delegates. But we are saying let the debates cover us all.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many are going to gather and they take certain resolutions, but the debates must cover us all because we all are bona fide members. We are all entitled to have a say.
Yeah.
And the people are already having their say. So the idea is Phutheho is not owned by the organizing committee.
Yeah.
Phutheho is not owned by the runners.
Mm-hmm.
Phutheho must be owned by the people of Matabeleland. And they are the ones who must determine how it runs. Those who run must still go back to the communities. But some of the things have to be done until people are able to assemble.
Yeah.
Then the communities must now report back. We had to take this decision under these circumstances, where to do this, whether we're right or wrong. Then the people will come and say, yes, we adopted this we don't want. But the issue is, let there be feedback, let there be reports, let there be transparency. You will take certain decisions which are definitely unpopular. You will take certain decisions which are definitely wrong.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is that, are you accountable? Are you reporting back? So when we get to communities, you do get difficult questions. What about this? What about that? Like you were asking, what is Phutheho?
Yeah.
You go to certain communities, people say, we don't know. Why did you call it Phutheho?
Mm-hmm.
But part of the idea of organizing people coming together, we don't have one language in Matabeleland.
Yeah.
We don't have one culture in Matabeleland.
Yeah.
We have many communities, diverse cultures.
Yeah.
And you are saying, for us to come together, let's know that we are Tonga, we are Venda, we are Kalanga, we are Ndebele, we are Xhosa, we have the Indian community, we have whoever. They are all part of Matabeleland community. And therefore, we should, whatever we do, be sensitive.
Yeah.
To be sensitive to that diversity and then not bring up issues that divide.
Yeah.
We should try and harness those things that bring us together. And a part of it is that linguistic diversity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You have said you have started to do some work with the stakeholders and going into communities. What has been the interest like?
We did a stakeholder, a leaders meeting for Matabeleland that was early August, but it had to be done virtual.
Okay.
We had 8 meetings.
Okay.
At different levels with different Zoom, some on chat, to cover as broad a spectrum.
Yeah.
For instance, if I can give you an example, with the veterans of the liberation struggle, it was a group which we had to do through a WhatsApp chat group, because it is a group of 300, and that is a specific constituency that you will have a certain interest.
Yeah.
But you also have the churches, which at least were able to meet certain church leaders in a church, certain things. But then you have the different civic leaders across the country and beyond.
Yeah.
So you find that each constituency has certain priorities.
Yeah.
But generally, no one so far I have met or any organizer I've met who says the idea of meeting is wrong. Everyone says, no, the idea of meeting is correct. Yeah. But then people will raise certain things to say, how safe will that be? Mm-hmm. What about this? What about that? What would be the outcome? But we are saying, who can know an outcome of a meeting before the meeting even happens?
Yeah.
You know, but naturally, for people who have suffered so much, for people with so much anxiety and fears, some people want to put the cart before the horse. And we should have that tolerance, that understanding. We should understand ourselves. We should understand our people. We should understand their history, their fears, where they come from. So those sentiments, those anxieties are understandable. Some feeling that perhaps someone somewhere can come and talk over Phutheho and run it in his or her direction, because we have lost jobs, we have lost businesses, we have lost opportunities on our own land. So people now have a feeling that we can even lose this initiative. And we are saying, fine, we have lost so many things, but part of the reason why we lost is that we did not stand up for ourselves. And we are saying the process towards a Phutheho is already set. Actually, in essence, Phutheho is already taking place because communities have suggested issues for debate. We just didn't even suggest issues for debate, but resolutions to say what must be done. Don't tell us about the problem, because I already know the problem better. You can't come to a meeting to table a problem when I already came to the meeting because I have problems. But we have to come and discuss solutions, which is why people propose solutions to say, I think for education, we must do this about teacher training. We must do this about the curriculum. We must do this about shortage of resources. We must do this about distances. You get the point.
Yeah.
The same applies to agriculture.
Yeah, I think that's where I was coming. I was going to be asking you about the proposed resolutions, because I have seen some. Maybe if you could just give us maybe one or two which you feel you need to discuss about, which you feel that those resolutions really capture what Phutheho really is about.
Perhaps let me foreground by giving how we came to the resolutions.
Okay, yeah.
There was a call by the Phutheho Convention Committee, stakeholders and communities to make proposal of resolution. People were given 40 days.
Okay.
So it was a period.
Yeah.
And the resolutions were coming in not in any order, right? But as the resolutions were coming in, we're publishing them. But that did not stop you from proposing the same thing because someone has proposed it. Because why are we saying that? We are saying when we get to the to the convention, let's say people have said we want free education, which is one of the resolutions, proposed resolution. We are going to reveal the number. First, we are going to state those who moved that resolution.
Okay.
And how many people are behind that resolution. Maybe they can be 10, they can be 15. So in each resolution, we have grouped the stakeholders by name.
Okay.
Some as individuals, some as communities, some as organizations.
Yeah.
So that when we get to Phutheho, we are not discussing things in abstract.
Yeah.
So and so said we want this as a resolution to solve the water problem.
Yeah.
In Cholocho. This person must be known.
Yeah.
Who is the move of this resolution, and so that we are discussing, we don't want to discuss dummies.
Yeah.
You get the point. So because when these resolutions were presented, because we created an 8-step process towards Phutheho, which was the call for the proposed resolutions, and they remain proposals. Yeah. Until we get to a situation where people now discuss and adopt. But now we're already discussing, and these resolutions, we had to restructure them, which was part of the process. Okay. Resolution 1, resolution 2, not in the order of priority. Every resolution is important. Yeah. Education could be the resolution number 1, but doesn't mean resolution number 37 is unimportant. No, but we are only saying there must be a thematic way of ordering them. So with those proposed resolutions, when we get to the convention, because people are already discussing them, people will say, no, we don't want free education. So that resolution is lost. We don't talk about it because people decide we don't want this. But if people say, no, we want free education, then on the convention, part of the convention process, we'll now have to pair that resolution with an implementation resolution. Because we don't want the convention to be a talk show. Yeah. To say, we want this, we want that. We want to say, once you say you want this, how are you going to implement it? That is why the outcome of a convention must be a program of action, which is constituted by the adopted resolutions and their implementing matrices. Because for each thing we adopt, we must say how are we going to do it, when, and the resource timelines and who, so that this meeting, this convention, this Phutheho is worth the salt. Otherwise, we have been talking in conferences. We don't have to go and talk.
You have mentioned implementation. Yes. Some people are saying Phutheho wants to form a political party. Some say Phutheho wants to form a civic organization. What do you have to say about that?
If you look at what we call the Phutheho working paper, which contains all the proposals from the stakeholders, you realize political resolutions are there. Business resolutions are there. People are saying let's have a mutual funds. People are saying let's have banks. But people are saying let's have devolution. Some are saying let's have federation. Some are saying let's have independence.
Yeah.
Those are resolutions that are already there.
Yeah.
Right? And we are saying, yeah, let's get to the meeting and they discuss what is the outcome for each thing. Because people must justify.
Yeah.
Why do you want devolution?
Yeah.
What are the benefits of devolution? How will you have it implemented? Because it is already there in the Constitution anyway. Is that not so? But there are those who say, no, we think we want federation. Yeah. You must justify why you think federation is going to solve the problem of Matabeleland. Yeah. And there are those who say, no, let's go for independence. They have an right, they have an entitlement, but they must convince the whole of Matabeleland and the delegates to say why we think these are the issues, this is the way things could be done and it will save us. So whether people from Putah will form a company, will form business companies, will form banks, will start parties or whatever, no one can say, because we don't know which resolutions will be adopted. But let's go with an open mind. And then let's not go with a fear, because we are saying for whatever people will decide, they are solely responsible for its implementation. It's not, they are not going to write a petition. If there is any prayer we're going to make, we can only make it to God. We are going to put it up because we believe the destiny, our own destiny is in our hands. So whatever we are going to resolve, we must be sure we are going to implement. If we want to go to the fields and grow crops, we must be ready to do the weeding and the watering and the harvesting ourselves. So that must be clear. Phutheho is not about to send someone or to cry to someone or to petition or to write letters. Phutheho is talking about a program of action. After Phutheho, you implement what you will have decided. We don't know how many resolutions you've adopted, but we already know which resolutions are there and people are already discussing. And we don't want to influence anyone to decide whichever way. Let people decide with a clear mind as to what it means. Because you can't keep on making mistakes and they keep on degenerating. And the world is moving, it's not waiting for anyone. The world will not wait for Matabeleland. Neither does the world care whether we are sinking. So the onus is on us. And we are saying, whatever will be decided, the people of Matabeleland must take responsibility. Otherwise, they mustn't even have the Phutheho if they are not yet ready to implement their own word. Who else will respect them if they say we want to do this and they don't do it themselves? You see the issue. So we are taking this thing serious because it is about, for us, it's a do or die. We don't see any option unless we do it. And from the interest, from the zeal, from the commitment out there, I have no doubt that the people do it. They've done better things in the past. They've been more committed. They've done so much for this country. And I don't think this time they will fail to do it for themselves.
Okay. Yeah, I see that the approach that you have adopted is sort of an open-ended approach. I'm just thinking, will it not lead to many organizations, meaning that the disunity that we have been talking about is going to continue or perpetuated?
First of all, perhaps, let me point out that we are now working towards Phutheho 2020. It might not be done in 2020, it remains Phutheho 2020. In the Phutheho Convention, the next date of the Phutheho will also be decided, whether it will be Phutheho 2021 or Phutheho 2022 or Phutheho. So the Phutheho concept is now a living idea. The idea that we must have a meeting, a gatherings, whether they are done annually or whatever, but the idea of Phutheho is there to stay. But whatever is born by Phutheho, let it flourish, because it will be decided by the people. But the idea of Phutheho is now, as far as we're concerned, is now a reality. Phutheho won't die. But the products of Phutheho can come out, because let's say Phutheho decides to send Mr. Nkala to go and be in charge of procurement of water. That would be an assignment you are given by your nation, right? But it doesn't mean that Phutheho would stop its mobilizing, organizing, harmonizing, and creating a platform for the people of the region to address their issues, because one Phutheho can solve the problems, like new problems come in while people solve. But we believe that coming together might not necessarily start new things. It might actually adopt things that are already there to say, for this particular thing, we already have this vehicle, be it in a civic organization, be it a business, be it a cooperative, be it a party, who knows? So all these options must be there. But let's not think that a multiplicity of organizations on its own is a problem. What is a problem is a situation where people work in cross purposes. Okay. Right. That's the problem. That's the only problem, because we are saying it's good people have stakeholders. Yeah. You come to any city, you find there could be 3 or 4 resident associations. If they are serving the residents, that's okay. But if they are there to counter one another and not serve what they stood out to do, then that's a problem. Yeah. It's in business. We can't have one shop. Even if I like to eat somewhere, I want also to have variety. So we need all this multiplicity of players, but we should not be at cross purpose. We should understand the threats against us, forces that are working against us, and have things that unite our effort. Because Phutheho is about uniting the effort. Yeah. And we are saying whatever people have been doing as individuals and organizations, as churches, as whatever, is greatly appreciated. Let's build from it. Let's not destroy what has been done, because no one can build by destroying what is there. We are only building on the shoulders of those who have done so much. But we are only saying, why not harmonize these efforts so that we really realize a better product faster and in an economic way? That's the idea of a Phutheho. Yeah.
Okay, no, it sounds like it's a very good idea. I'm hoping that it's going to be successful. And I think you have just spoken about the 2020 convention. I was going to ask, when is the convention? And who is coming?
The original date for the convention, as set late last year, was 10 August 2020. Okay. By then, last year, September, October, no one had an idea of COVID-19. So everything changed. Yeah. And we were also hopeful that since in our country, we have relaxed a bit, but the situation is not safe. Yeah. So now we can tell you, no one here is certain even about the gatherings that are going to happen in December. Yeah. So we are seeing all of us are reworking and reflecting on how best. Of course, there have been many options. Yeah. Some we can discuss, some we might not discuss, of how we can go about it. But So the options have always been there, but we know with the high risk from this pandemic, definitely it will be suicidal, if not foolish, to really gather the number that initially we had in mind. But still, there are still many ways of killing. So we have to find ways of saying because this is now the new normal. How do we manage to have a mandate seeking Phutheho without having the numbers that we initially wanted, and when that could be done? Because post Phutheho, there are other things that have to be implemented. So we're saying, so those are issues that are being debated, but those can't just be resolved by the various committees. They still have to be taken back to the communities. For instance, when the postponement was done, we all knew we are going to postpone Phutheho, but it wasn't done by us as the committees. We had to consult the stakeholders to say, ladies and gentlemen, considering that we can't even gather, we have to meet virtual, and our date is coming close. People said it's obvious we can't meet. So we postponed it indefinitely. But still, we've come to a point to say, this COVID seems to be with us for quite some time, but we still want to do our Phutheho. And people have suggested many options. Some options which initially we thought, no, this thing will be over soon. But we are realizing the research and in the West shows that we can also have the same. But we definitely know there are ways that the same could still be achieved. And as I said, the Phutheho we had envisaged for 10 August might not happen this year or next year, but it might happen in 2022, 2023, 2024, because there will be many Phutehos. So we shouldn't feel we have lost so much because we couldn't do perhaps the fanfare that we really imagined earlier on. But the essence, the gist of what has to be done must continue. It can't wait, but we'll consult and come out with the means and they move on, because life is not stopping and we should do something.
Definitely. Now, maybe before we conclude this interview, one who is going to attend whenever the convention is convened. Secondly, if ever, let's say, people want to be part of Phutheho, what do they have to do?
Initially, we have what we call community delegates, where we wanted delegates to come from the wards, so that each and every part of Matabeleland and Midlands is represented. But then we also have stakeholder delegates who come from organizations, from churches, from parties, from whatever. But we have said the number of the common delegates must be such that they are not overwhelmed by organizations, because we don't want organizations dictating to the people. So you can get it that whatever matrix we will have to devise to ensure that the number suits the new reality. Still, the general delegates from the communities must still dominate the organizations. We can come from our churches, we come from our civil society, we can come from our parties, but we can't then be half-half with the citizens. Otherwise, the decision will be coming from organizations. So the decision must really be a popular decision. So from the townships, from the villages, and we cannot hold a Phutheho unless we have a person representing the ones in Beitbridge, in Binga, in Skwala, in Slovela, etc. That we can't compromise. Otherwise, it won't be a Phutheho. We would rather call it something else. Right. So, but the numbers now will have to be varied. That's the reality. But still, the percentage of composition remains. But participation, as of now, we have said stakeholders and communities and individuals to register. We put it in our newsletter every week, the numbers for people to register. Why is the registration process important? So that we can see the distribution
Yeah.
Makes it easy even for organizing to say, guys, for instance, now I'm here in Bulawayo. I could say, okay, in Makandeni, we have so many members waiting to attend. But perhaps in Chabalala, we have fewer women who might attend. So it makes organizing to say, how do we balance? Because in attendance, the youth must be there, women must be there, men must be there. We don't want a situation where someone speaks and decides for other people who should be there. So it is our duty as organizers to ensure that we don't only balance the genders, we balance age, we balance region, we balance in terms of organization, so that whatever outcome, it will be representative of the sentiment of Matabeleland right at home as well as in the diaspora, because we have people mobilize themselves in certain structures across the globe. And that way, they also have to have a say. That one is away from home doesn't mean he has no say in the future of our country. So that way, when the numbers are clear, then we'll see in proportion what we'll have to do, but maintaining that representation. So it's still free for people to state. Those who want to come and those who come as organizations, not a problem, because there will be a lead of the organization and they are given. So when the time comes, we can now say, you gave us your 30 delegates, but now we can't take the 30. Please, we might now maybe take 5 because of the situation. It's up to the 10 people to forward, but at least on record, we'll still have the figures, the numbers, how many people wanted, and the decision making. There could be things we might say, perhaps this we must take back to the different constituencies. Because there are certain decisions that are so serious that you can't allow a paltry, handful of people to make a decision. It cannot happen that way. We believe there are certain things that we must be able to create means so that we all engage, so that we are bound, that we believe is. There are many decisions on every issue. There's no issue we should take for granted. We should all have a common understanding. That's why we have commissioned papers per area. And then now we work through what we call Putah working groups. Working groups on environment, working groups on women, working groups on education. All those are efforts to ensure that each area we mix the expertise and the information from the communities and the like, so that in each area we speak with authority, because people on the ground have really said, and we know what we are saying, so that in the end of the day, we don't say, we missed that. That should not be, we have no excuse at that level of organizing. We must do things in the best way that is possible. And we say, we have the people, we have the organizations with the capacity to not be utilizing the experience, the talent, and the capacity out there. So we should be, as organizers, humble enough to approach the various people with their skills. And whenever we've done so, people have delivered. We have a diverse contribution from people, because people have the experience, people have the know-how. I wonder when people really fear certain things that they can't be done. I say, but look at how much talent we have as a region. And let's utilize it. Let's not use personal egos to hinder those with the talent. Let's draw them to come and do something for their nation. If we deploy the best amongst us, then we'll get the best result. And as for us, the runners, we remain the runners. We will not in anything but to run, because we agreed that we will be the runners. And the people come and decide whatever they do. They can't take Hadebe to go and do anything. No, Hadebe remains a runner. He will remain running, and I'm content with it. That will be the stage I would have played. Others will play other roles, but we are playing the running. And as a nation, in nation building, we should understand those things. Someone must agree to be the dominant. It doesn't mean the dominant is not important, but it is important, and we have agreed to be the dominant, and that is fine. So once we have that relay to know at this stage, I think so and so must come in and do this. That way we will move, we will progress. We can't be everything, and we can't be in everything. That is one mistake we have done in the past, to think you can be in everything and do everything by yourself. It has not worked.
All right. Now, thanks very much, Dr. Hadebe. This was a very informative discussion.
My pleasure.
Do you have any last words that you would like to share with the people?
Well, to say the success of Phutheho depends on our unity. We are where we are, not just because there are those who want us to be where we are, but because also on our part, we had agreed to relax, not to be each other brother's protector, right? So we have a responsibility to one another as brothers and sisters. So it's healthy and good to differ, to even fight. But there are things that are central, things that we cannot afford not to do together. With that spirit, I believe, which so far has been demonstrated, and demonstrated immensely by people across the globe, people who have never met in person, but who have done so much for this initiative. And we are saying, for us, it is encouraging. And it shows that this initiative, which is the people's initiative, is moving in the right direction. And let us come in, correct where it is going off track, and embrace it, and do it because it belongs to the people, and make sure it doesn't escape the people. And that way, only success is what will come to Matabeleland. And I thank you for that opportunity.
No, thanks very much. We wish you the best of luck, and we hope we will be talking to you as you progress with your work. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right.